I'm Johnny Vegas, and you're listening to KopTalk with Dunk. And all you other Liverpool sites, just stop embarrassing yourself, all right?
Yo, what up? This your boy Smooth, straight from New York. You're listening to KopTalk Podcast. Remember this, you never walk alone, but if you fuck with us, you walk with a limp.
Alright guys, how's it going? It is Saturday the 10th of June 2023 and you're listening to the KopTalk Podcast in association with footballclubshares.com, where you can buy real shares in real football clubs. How's it going, guys? You alright now? I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hang on a minute, it's Saturday and Dunk's doing a podcast. Yeah, but I feel like I shortchanged you this week. It was my intention to do one every day, Monday to Friday, although I did say that was permitting on news, alright? But I do think yesterday there was some stuff we could have spoke about, but it was just such a busy day. I had to do so many things, like at home, never mind work, and it's just impossible, guys, impossible. So here I am, and I wanted to record, just a quick episode. Maybe, you know what I'm like, I'll say a quick episode, and it'll probably go on all day. So what I do want to do is load that page up there. Because we've had a couple of new patrons this week supporting the podcast, which is, as Brendan Rodgers would say, fantastic. We had Dave Kelly early in the week, which was very, very kind of him, and also Phil Walsh as well has joined the squad, and I'm absolutely, very, very grateful for that. So I just want to give them a mention, and I will obviously give them a mention a little bit later when we get to the shout outs. All right, so. Where do we start? Let's have a look and see what videos I churned out on KopTalk.tv yesterday, just to see if they can remind me of anything. Right, first of all, so Manu Kone, we know that there was talks that took place on Wednesday with Liverpool Football Club, and we understood they also took place yesterday. On Wednesday, they were in Manchester on the KopTalk members website. It does say the exact place where those took part, although you don't need to know that. But it was Manchester, and it was just somewhere very nice. Those talks are said to have been continued with yesterday, Friday the 9th. As yet, we've not heard anything from that, and maybe we never will. Who knows? We spoke about Vega as well, being told to keep an eye on that, monitor it closely. Doesn't sound like anything's going on too prolific at the moment. Lavi has gone quiet since an initial inquiry was made with regards his availability. We did a video about the importance of Melwood in the last couple of days. Obviously, Liverpool Football Club have bought it back. They sold it and have actually paid more money for it to buy it back for the women's football team. Melwood should never have been sold in the first place, in my opinion. There were claims that personal terms had been agreed for Kone and Thuram. These are what I call premature claims. I don't believe that. You may say that I made a video about this yesterday and made it very clear that I think people are trying to mislead you. And I noticed one of those people that I would include in that changed their stance to verbally agreed personal terms. Listen, don't get excited about when someone says personal terms are agreed. Before you even advance, on trying to make a contract happen, you need to have a rough idea of what that player is looking at contract-wise. A bid doesn't go in unless all that's sorted first. So just remember that. Don't get excited by it. It's misleading. I did a 37-minute long video all about it yesterday. If you really want to understand a little bit more about what I'm saying. But I never, ever, ever, I never feel positive when it says personal terms agreed. Never in a million years. Makes no difference. Naby Keita, obviously gone, thank fuck. But I did a video about that yesterday, only a short one, 4 minutes long. Can you believe it? I've seen people yesterday saying, you'll be missed and all that. I was like, yeah, you'll be missed, all right, by the fucking medical team. Do you know what I mean? Mo Salah, as Fabrizio Romano would say, he's been linked with a possible move to Saudi Arabia. Not now, though. This is about, down the line, 2024, something like that, maybe a year later, whenever. When he's finished his, playing at the height of European football. That's something that I think you should pay close attention to, because I could actually see that happening. I would like to talk a little bit more about Saudi Arabia and football, but I can't at the moment. But they're all over the news. They're throwing a lot of money at football out there, and it's something that could start to attract a lot of interest, I think. I saw James Pearce put a tweet out the other day congratulating the outgoing sporting director, Julian Ward, for the way he secured the McAllister deal. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He triggered a contract clause. I could have done that. You could have done that. I just think that was a bit of brown nosing by Pearce. That was a video I did. And then my final video yesterday was about Thuram and Kone. My opinion here is that it was an opinion video, not so much news. And it was about, I just feel that Liverpool are maybe playing some of these agents off each other. And normally that happens when you might go for, say, I think back to the Simicast is a good example of this. They play agents off each other. Say they've got a player, in that case, two left backs. So they go between them both. Well, we'll have you or we'll have him. It's, we're not really, one of you is ideal, really, but we can't do both and play each other off that. And I don't think it always happens with the same positions. So you might have a striker and a defender, and you might be saying to both of their agents, well, to be honest with you, we can only really do one of you, guarantee that we can get one of you in, because it depends what's left in the kitty. Now, ideally, we'd like you. And then they can play each other off and say, well, we probably can't do that, so we're going to have to focus on the other option. I feel there's a lot of this going on with Liverpool at the moment. There's a possibility that you could sign Thuram and Kone, neither of them or one of them. I really do think it's open. Yesterday they were apparently undergoing medicals and all that nonsense. Did you see me touch on it? I always wonder why people message me privately and say, Dunk, is it true that? And I think, do you really think that I would not approach these subjects in a video or a podcast or something? And I don't have time. I know it sounds awful and arrogant, and I'm really not. I just don't have time to engage in conversation about my feelings to do with Liverpool Football Club matters, when all I do every day of the week is make videos and fucking podcasts. If someone doesn't know my thoughts or opinions about something, they can't be paying attention. Do you know what I mean? So please don't send me private messages or emails about that stuff. Do you know what I mean, guys? What I mean by that as well is that I mean people I don't even know. If you're someone that participates in the KopTalk community, if you're a member, if you're someone that I consider friend, I'm always going to reply to you and be happy to discuss things with you. But when I get a complete stranger going, hey, what do you think about this medical thing? And I think, is it on KopTalk TV? Is it on the members' website? Is it on a podcast? If you followed any of those things, you'd know, mate. So they get a bit on my nerves. Anyway, those are the videos that I've done recently. If you've got time, you might want to go and look at them. I've just got a message come through which I need to check. Sorry, this is in real time. I always check. I know I break off, and that's maybe not right. But if that was really important to do with Liverpool, you would be fuming if I ignored it, right? It's not to do with Liverpool. So what else was I going to say? No Saturday night streaming on YouTube tonight. I've got arrangements tomorrow. I want to be fresh. So I won't be doing that tonight, but I will be live at youtube.com/Duncan Oldham today and tomorrow. Tonight, I expect I'll be on there instead of like KopTalk TV like I usually would. I'm going to be kicked back, doing some Xboxing with my boy Smooth and my daughter Charlotte, and some of you guys that have been joining me as well. Please do go to youtube.com/Duncan Oldham and give me a subscribe on there. So, is there anything that I need to touch on there? I don't think so. They're the videos that we did yesterday. Looking at the members' website, there's people talking about Mo Salah. Do we sell him? There is, updates on all of those players that are being linked with us currently at the moment. But I don't think we need to go through any of those. I don't think there's anything fresh. So you know me, I don't like to, regurgitate and patronise you with stuff that is probably hasn't changed since we last spoke. There is not, I'm looking at news, like to do Liverpool Football Club, like what's happened in the last 24 hours. And to be honest with you guys, I would be patronising you if I was to go through some of these things, all right? Because a lot of this is clickbait. and it's just there to, I don't know, to reel you in. And I don't think we need to do that on this podcast. So what we will do is we will take a look at today's mainstream media gossip surrounding all clubs. We'll see if Liverpool Football Club come up in there. I haven't checked it yet. La Parisienne in France, PSG are planning a move for Man City's Portugal midfielder Bernardo Silva, 28 this summer, as a replacement for the departing Lionel Messi. Guardian, Ajax are demanding £45 million for their 25-year-old Mexico midfielder Edson Alvarez, who has emerged as another option for West Ham to replace Rice. Sky Sports Germany, Bayern Munich's top midfield transfer target is Rice, but Arsenal remain favourites to sign him. Football Insider say Man City have held initial talks with Leipzig over the signing of Croatian defender Josko Gvardiol. Football transfers, terrible. Talks between Arsenal and Cancelo over a potential move are progressing positively, and Man City want $45 million for the Portugal fullback, who is 29. Bild in German, Manchester United boss Erik ten Hag has blocked Eintracht Frankfurt's attempts to sign Victor Lindelof this summer and does not want the 28-year-old Sweden centre-back to leave. The Mail say that United have been told that Atalanta's 20-year-old Danish striker Rasmus Højlund and Monaco's French defender Axel Disasi, 25, both want to move to Old Trafford this summer. Football London say Chelsea have opened talks with Southampton over their Belgian midfielder Romeo Lavia, 19. Liverpool have not. Tutto Mercato Web, obviously this is Italy. Inter Milan's Cameroonian goalkeeper Andre Onana has an agreement in principle with Chelsea, but Inter have rejected the Blues' initial £34 million bid for the 27-year-old. L'Equipe, which is obviously France, Chelsea are also interested in AC Milan and France keeper Mike Maignan. Telegraph, Luton Town have held talks with Bosnia keeper Asmir Begovic, 35, who has just left Everton, and have also looked at Bournemouth Republic of Ireland goalkeeper Mark Travers, 24. Football Insider, Crystal Palace and Fulham are preparing bids for Coventry City and Sweden forward Victor Gyökeres, 25. Telegraph, Chelsea are waiting to hear whether or not AC Milan will go ahead with the £15 million signing of their English midfielder Ruben Loftus-Cheek, 27, after sacking directors Paolo Maldini and Frederic Massara. The Mirror, Saudi side Al Ahly are ready to offer Algeria winger Riyad Mahrez, 32, a contract worth £40 million a year to leave Man City this summer. The London Evening Standard say Tottenham and Manchester United are both set to walk away from a potential deal for David Raya if Brentford do not lower their asking price of £40 million for the 27-year-old Spain goalkeeper. The Mail, Newcastle United boss Eddie Howe has been told he will have £75 million to spend this summer, with Leicester's England international James Maddison their top midfield target, and Brighton's 21-year-old Ecuadorian Moises Caicedo, Manchester United Scotland international Scott McTominay, and Chelsea and England's Conor Gallagher also under consideration. How's he going to get all that for £75 million? What's that all about? The Athletic. Well, I guess under consideration doesn't mean all of them, but you know what I'm saying? Athletic, alternatively, Newcastle have a transfer budget of £100 million to £150 million. That's more like it if you want some of them, I would have thought. Finishing with reports in Spain saying Real Madrid are closing in on the signing of Getafe's Spanish goalkeeper David Soria, who is 30 years of age. Looking at these transfers, you know, I always like going through the roundup, and I always refer to it as mainstream media. And I'm not referring to Football Insider and football transfers as mainstream media. So, you know, I cut out references to the Sun newspaper, for example, and I think I'm going to start cutting them out because, you know, I'm basically, you know, touching on things that I have no faith in. And I know that you can all make your minds up on that, but I'm not really sure it's what I want to include on this podcast, to be honest with you. I'd rather stay with the professionals when we're talking about mainstream media. It's a completely different thing altogether if you're talking about so-called ITKs and shit spreaders. So, you know, I try to limit that stuff on KopTalk, really. So it's kind of going against my principles. So maybe we'll start excluding them. If you've got a strong opinion on that, feel free to let me know. You know, podcast@koptalk.com. Okay, so I want to just check my email. I have an email from Mr. Adam Naylor in here somewhere. Obviously, it's going to be on the last thing that I want to look at, which is here. And Adam says, and he emailed me on Thursday, he says, "Hey, Dunk, hope you well. Touching on the click, I thought they're all very quiet. I believe you that Romano Salah had a connection with the agent or a contact with the agent of McAllister to know so much. Even Paul Joyce cited him for the transfer fee. It's true. You know, when that, whether we like fucking, Romano or not, he was right with this. I think he had running commentary on it. I said I thought that some of the journos might try and play him down from the click. And apparently, what I mean by that is would try and contradict the transfer valuation, which, Romano's saying it's 35 million. And someone told me that James Pearce, I don't know if this is true, had immediately come out and said it was 45 million or something different. I don't know if that's true or not, so you'd have to research that yourself. Whereas Paul Joyce did cite Romano, which is what Adam's saying here. But I don't consider Paul Joyce, in the click, to be honest with you. James Pearce, I do. Paul Joyce is a bit of a, lone wolf, is his own man kind of thing. To be honest with you, Ornstein and Joyce are the two that I think are above all the click. But and Adam gets that, but Adam's, spot on with what he's saying here. He says, now on the owners, what you said made everything click. Now, I did ask Rich T71 in the comments for his thoughts on this, and he responded, cheers, Rich. So Rich T71 is a member, KopTalk VIP member. He's been with me for decades, very clued up on the business side of things. He's got contacts out in them regions, including royalty and everything. If you are on the members' website, you should always see what Rich T's got to say about finance and takeovers and business, whether it's Liverpool related or personal related. And if you only watch, say, like my videos, look in the comments. Whenever you see one about potential takeovers, Rich T might be buried in the comments. And as Adam's saying, he did ask Rich something, and he responded, cheers, Rich. Now, if, as we say, the stadium expansion finishes in 3 months, Schmatka, George, the new sporting director, his deal is 3 months too. Could we already have a deal in place, near in place, for the sale of the club to happen after this? So what Adam's getting at there is that, people that talk to me, not a great deal, right? I have an individual that's very deep within the club. I prefer to go with things when more than one person says it, but this one individual says, look, Dunk, keep an eye on what happens, after the stadium expansion is complete. The timescale for that was, when we spoke, was maybe 3 months. The new sporting director's initial contract is 3 months. I've had other people that I don't know personally alluding along the same things, in other words, my opinion kind of goes along the lines of, what would you sell now if you were selling your house, or if you were having a conservatory built on your house? Would you wait a couple more weeks, couple more months at home because you'll get a better price and the figures? Even if you said it's like get away from the conservatory, but going back to the club, all right, so you've got an extra, a bigger stadium. Initially, after them, when that's open, you might not be able to. That's maybe not reflected in the accounts, but at some time you're going to see greater revenue streams even in the future. So the point I'm trying to make here is that, the expansion finishes at the same time as the sporting director's temporary contract does, unless it's extended. It does fall into place, but I wouldn't immediately think that something's going to jump out in 3 months' time, for example. But I do think that FSG would be kind of daft maybe to sell now, because I wouldn't sell my house if I was having a conservatory built. I'd wait till it was built. So Adam's asking, could we already have a deal in place or near in place for the sale of the club to happen? I don't know, but there could be people that are sniffing around that's giving that vibe, you know what I mean? He also says, I also think now for a long time our future is very much tied to United due to price. Agreed. If FSG accept 3 billion for us, but United go for 5, FSG will be kicking themselves thinking they could have got another billion. Anyway, have a good weekend, pal. Thanks for all the support, Adam. And that's Adam Naylor, YouTube. He's got his Liverpool channel, and we just got him over. Well, we didn't. That's kind of insulting, but we've helped. I think I would like to think I've helped Adam a little bit because I like him. He's the only YouTuber I watch about Liverpool Football Club. And I understand that he did a live stream last night about Liverpool Football Club. I couldn't participate, unfortunately. That's just the way it is. But Adam's a good lad. If you like Liverpool content, that's someone that you should subscribe to on YouTube, in my opinion. So thank you for that, Adam. I do appreciate that. I think we're on the same wavelength. I don't have any more emails. I do have invoices, though. Due date, 14th of June. Great, another bill. That's all I seem to do is pay fucking bills. Right, is there anything else I want to discuss with you guys today? So it's only 20 minutes so far. I think this podcast's around that. I guess it's not exceptionally long, but I wanted to catch up with you. Again, you know, I guess there'll be a lot of speculation surrounding Thuram and Kone, and that might have changed since I played down this personal terms agreed bullshit that was thrown out there yesterday. Be very suspicious of anyone that anyone that's claiming to be an ITK that's making a big deal out of personal terms agreed. But go and watch the video that I did about that, and you'll understand it a little bit more. Because these people, I think they're bullshitting you. Do you know what I'm saying? But we will keep our eyes and ears open, and at some point, you know, then fine. But even if someone said to me today, one of my like so-called contacts or sources or friends said, "Don't personal terms are agreed with Kone and Thuram," I'd be like, right, okay, and it doesn't mean anything. Do you know what I mean? All right, it means that, you know, if you can't agree personal terms, you're never going to have a deal. Fine, I accept that. But personal terms, you know, a player can agree personal terms with a dozen clubs. It doesn't mean anything. So, you know, the amateurs will bang on about that, and, you know, those that are trying to lure in the vulnerable, that's what I think. And, you know, when we've got something to discuss on that front, we'll discuss it. It doesn't mean they're lying, guys, but I just think that a lot of these people are deliberately misleading people and trying to make it look like they know what they're talking about, when quite frankly, they do not. So, let's give a shout out to the squad. That's right. Let's give a shout out to the people that support this podcast. And these people really do make this podcast possible. Without them, there would be no podcast because I couldn't justify the time. You can support this podcast by going to www.KopTalkPodcast.com and you can join the squad. If you enjoy the podcast, you get all the adverts removed. You can listen to private episodes when I do them. And it's the equivalent of buying me a cup of coffee or a beer once a month. So if you sat there thinking, I enjoy this, I'd love to get Dunk a beer if I ever saw him. Well, here's your chance. And it's cheap as chips, really, to become a supporter of the podcast. So I think it's worth it just for removing the adverts, but that's just my opinion. Thank you to those of you on the old fan legacy tier. It's no longer available, but while you still want to take advantage of that, you can have brought it in to help people, and there's some of you still on there, so thank you for that. Okay, I want to give a shout out to the supporters, okay? This is what you can become if you want to get me a drink once a month. So we've got Liam Buckland, and we have James Braid, Wayne Brown, Tom Brown, Simon Digweed, Phil Walsh, who is a new supporter of the podcast. Phil, thank you so much, brother man. Honestly, put a right smile on my face because we don't get many new people joining in. So that really did put a smile on my face. And I swear down that, you know, it's £3. It makes a big difference, I swear. And you know what? If all of my supporters out there supported me like that every month, think of what we could achieve with KopTalk. It would be incredible. We have Mark Bingley as well. We have Jimmy and Jamie Gilmore. We have Harry and Hamza. Glyn Taylor. We've got Clint and Aaron O'Dowd. We then have what we call the legends. So we've got Craig Alford, we've got Tyler Dean Williams, Paul MC, Matt Meeker, James Lee, Jack Wood, Jack Rudgley. Also Dave Kelly, another new supporter of the podcast that joined us earlier in the week. Dave, you fucking are a legend. I appreciate the support, brother. We've also got Big Wave Dave and Andrew Evans. They're my other legends in that group. And then we have what we call the royalty. We've got Adam Naylor himself, of course. We've got David Sutcliffe and we've got Michael Couchman. www.KopTalkPodcast.com if you want to join the squad and be part of the KopTalk family. I love you guys and I really do appreciate the support that you give me. Now, if you're not in a position to support the podcast, it's no problem. You're listening. That's supporting the podcast. But you can also email me, podcast@KopTalk.com, or you could go to KopTalkPodcast.com and click on contact and send your thoughts in about Liverpool Football Club. And if you don't want to discuss things about what's happening in the news, maybe you want to tell me, you know, who your favourite Liverpool player is and why, or when your first Liverpool game was, you know, anything like that. Or you might want me to ask, you know, don't ask everyone what they think of this, you know. So I just love having you guys around. I love doing the episodes. I tried to do an episode every day last week, but sometimes it's just not possible. But I did do more than usual, and I'll be aiming to do the same again next week. I hope you have a great weekend. Like I say, no Saturday night streaming tonight, but we'll be back with that next weekend, I suspect. And in the meantime, youtube.com/Duncan Oldham. You can join me over there. That's kind of like KopTalk Extra Time, if you like. I'd love you over there. And obviously, I'm on Twitter at Duncan Oldham and Instagram and YouTube, all the same username. If you're on Twitter or Facebook, we've got these accounts. We've got KopTalk, we've got KopTalk Members, KopTalk Podcast, and KopTalk TV. All right? So, there's plenty for you there. Listen, guys, thanks so much for listening. I hope you have a great weekend. If there's anything that you'd like me to touch upon, don't hesitate to contact me, podcast@koptalk.com. If you want to send me a private email, it's dunk with a K at koptalk.com. Don't forget we have a chat room, t.me/KopTalk chat, where you can join us at any time to discuss LFC. Okay, guys, thanks for listening. You have a great weekend, and we'll speak real soon.